So I have been playing the hell out of Admech so far at 11th, as many games as I can get in. So many that I stopped playing in person so I can play some TDS games because they're easier to find. And I've been loving Admech. It's been a great time. The build crafting we've gotten in 11th has been incredibly enjoyable. The points buffs we got to some of our weaker units was a lot of fun. And I have a list that I'm going to talk about today that I've been having both success with and also fun with. I think it's just a fun list to play. So, diving right into it, I am playing a combination of Cohort Cybernetica and Lords of the Forge. Cohort Cybernetica is pretty simple. It gives you a Feel No Pain and a 4-pin vuln for your Tech Priest, so a 5 Feel No Pain, a 4-pin vuln, and it lets you shoot, and when you shoot a Tech Priest unit, you can either force a Battle Shock on a vehicle on a 2-up, or it can keep you hidden. Keeping hidden isn't going to be as applicable here. Primarily, we're here for the Feel No Pain, the enhancements, and the strats. So the strats for Lords of the Forge, we have a fallback shoot and charge for a Tech Priest unit. We have a Armor of Contempt one on an objective for a Tech Priest unit, which is a -1 AP strat. And then we have a shoot and action strat. Enhancements, we have 2. We have the TL409, which is a giant las cannon that you can attach as an enhancement, which is very cool. 24-inch range, 3 attacks, hitting on 2s at 11-2 D3+2, dev wounds hazardous. The other one is the Wafers of Dynamism, the Yummy Yummy Wafers. That gives your unit mobile for Kastelan robots. That is going to be Lords of the Forge. The Tech Priest units are going to be all the Datasmith, the Enginseer, Thulia Ghuld, and the Servitor Battle Clades. Those are all Tech Priest units, and each one has a Tech Priest model. Now, Cohort Cybernetica gives my Kastelan robots +2 movement, and all my Legio Cybernetica units +1 OC. Legio Cybernetica units are also going to be the Cybernetica Datasmiths and the Kastelan robots. So their movement goes up to 8, it's normally 6, and their OC goes up to 3. Enhancement-wise for that, we have Necromechanic. Once per battle round, when you're making saving throws for a friendly Legio Cybernetica or Adeptus Mechanicus vehicle unit or model within 12 inches of the bearer, when it's failed, you can change the damage to 0. Few interactions. When you're dealing with things like Melta or damage modifiers, those go on after a damage is converted to 0. So if you were, say, in range of a Melta gun that is Melta 2, you would blank the D6 damage, but the 2 damage will go through. But this is after you fail, so you don't need to use it until you fail it, which is very important. And you would do it before the damage roll is done. So it's directly after the failing throw or the failing save. You change it to 0, you can't see what the damage roll is. Still super good, very strong, very, very strong enhancement. Lords in the Machine can turn off shooting for a vehicle. Situational, I don't bring it. Emotionless Clarity, I didn't bring. It lets you auto deadly demise a vehicle, but our deadly demises are D3 at most. And Arch Negators is a damage buff versus vehicles for a Tech Priest. Inconsequential. We don't need that. We do have 6 strats here. It's a 2DP, but it's one of the old ones. We have one that gives all of our vehicle. They're all for vehicle units only, and they are command phase to command phase. So you can only ever use 1 per unit because you're limited to 1 strat per unit per phase. But they're very strong strats. The first one is +3 to move, +1 advance, +1 to charge. A lot of movement. Falling back, ignore all modifiers. Ignore all modifiers is insane. That is such a strong stratagem. So -1 to wound, cover, -1 to hit, -1 damage, all that stuff. -2 to charge rolls. If you're playing like Pathfinders and they have -2 to their charge rolls, this will remove that. It's any and all modifiers. This is a rare strat. Auto divinatory targeting is niche. It gives you a ballistic skill of 3 up and ignores cover. Because this modifies your ballistic skill and isn't a plus or minus, if you're in Protector and you have this, it means your ballistic skill 2 up, ignore cover. I didn't use this much, but it is pretty good. But it's against a specific objective. Machine Resurgent, Spirit Resurgent lets you reroll hits if you're below starting strength, and reroll wounds if you're below half. It's rather niche, but there is some use for that. The Benevolence of the Omnissiah gives you a 6-up Feel No Pain for a vehicle unit, and it's a 5-up versus mortals. And then there's Double Doctrinas. Now, all these are incredibly strong. The way this plays is in your command phase, you're basically going to pick what you're going to use for the next upcoming turn and pass out buffs as need be. So if you need a lot of shooting, you might have a couple tanks, and you might stack one with this, the Ballistic Skill 3 of an arrow cover, and one with Double Doctrinas. If you're having an aggressive turn but you've been tied up, you might use the fallback and shoot, and then you might give another unit the Tech Priest fallback shoot and charge. If you think you're going to take a lot of damage, you can pop the Feel No Pain on a big unit. And we'll go over kind of some situations that'll work. So now we've been over the detachments and the enhancements. Let's talk about the units. So we'll start top to bottom. I'm bringing Thulia Ghuld. She's going to give out Double Doctrinas or Advance and Charge to a Skitarii unit within 6 inches. Or she can give it to herself. So she can be pretty fast and conquer Advance, Shoot, and Charge. Or she can get Double Doctrina. She can now be tied up because she can just fall back, shoot, and charge. Or fall back, fall back, shoot, and charge. So she's kind of versatile. 8 toughness, 10 wounds, 2 up, 4 up, 5 up, Feel No Pain means that for 180 points, she's actually pretty tanky. She gets blown up when she's nearby other Adeptus Mechanicus units, and she has a 24-inch las cannon style gun that is d6 plus 2 damage and dev wounds. So what you can do here is you can lurk near like a tank to be blown up, but still shoot at things that are challenging the midboard. Very annoying to deal with. She's got a pretty good melee too. She's a beat stick. She doesn't punch up into vehicles too well, but she does pretty good at punching down into infantry. But without a lot of innate rerolls for her, she is prone to whiffing, so you don't want to rely on her melee too much. 2 Datasmiths. Like I said, both have enhancements. One has mobile for his Kastelan robots units. One has the Blanca save. Now, Cybernetica Datasmiths are going to be tech priests, so we get access to all the Lords of the Forge abilities. And what they do is that at the start of the battle, you pick if you are going to be in a protocol for your robots. Aegis Protocol is +1 toughness, Conqueror is +2 to attacks of melee weapons, and Protector is +2 attacks of ranged weapons. And then you can change it in your command phase. So at the start of the battle round, you get it, so you get it no matter what. And then your command phase, you can change it if you choose to. I'm running my robots with Flamers and Twinling Fists, so I generally use the Aegis Protocol situationally when I think I might be taking damage from something that is specifically Strength 18, Strength 9, Strength 10, or maybe if I think I'm going to take a mass of Strength 5, maybe. Like if there was like Chaos Space Marines have a bunch of heavy infantry bearing down on me, I might pop the +1 toughness. Generally, I'll live in the +2 attacks to melee, though, because Kastelan robots hit very hard in melee. The Enginseer can give a model, not unit, model, a D3 heal, and a 5 of Feel No Pain. This is pretty good. It lets you get a strong alpha strike in your robots, and then be able to take a lot of damage on that first robot for the upcoming turn. And then I have him with the enhancement to give him the TL409, which is a 24-inch range pseudo-las cannon. And he has blown up when he's near vehicles. So I do the same thing I do with Thulia with him, and I have him lurk near a tank. And the tank is going to draw fire, but they both are going to be dishing out damage. And then he can heal that vehicle as well. And if a vehicle dies within 12 inches, he gets powered up and he becomes pretty competent in melee. He's not attached to anybody, though. He's solo. 2 units of Rangers. They have Sticky Objective and Scout. 2 units of Battleclade. They have a bunch of weapons. They can advance action and shoot. And they have the Tech Priest keyword, so they can use all the strats and stuff from the Lords of the Forge. 2 big units of robots. 1 unit is going to be a little cheaper. 320 is a beautiful price for robots. But even then, 660 for 2 units is dirt cheap. A lot of wounds. They are running the Incendine Combustors, so just a heavy flamer. And then Twin Kastelan Fists. And I'm running Twin Kastelan Fists because we don't have a lot of access to reliability buffs for robots. Unless they've already taken a lot of damage. And I don't want to risk flubbing wound rolls with this valuable unit. So I'll take a little bit less shooting because I need these guys to hit hard. These are my hammer and my anvil. They need to get in there, they need to get kills, and then they need to not die. And to help with not dying is the repulsor grid. Every time a ranged attack is allocated to a Kastelan robot model on unmodified saving throw 6, the attacking unit suffers a mortal wound. Uncapped. Now, I have had units take 13 mortal wounds after dumping a bunch of anti-infantry shooting into robots because it's all they had and they had to kill it, and I spiked my saves. So, when we're talking about stacking buffs for defense, the fact that I have access to Armor of Contempt and reflecting damage means that sometimes shooting me is on average going to do as much damage to you as it will to me. It makes it very hard to actually chip down Kastelan robots. They have Deadly Demise 1, doesn't really mean much. Mainly we're looking at the Flamers to clear chaff, and then Strength 6 means that if I shoot at a T9, T10 vehicle, I might do some wounds to it. If I'm near battle line, a bunch of AP2 Flamers is kind of annoying. And then these fists, because they're going to be a Conqueror, are going to be a weapon skill 3, and I'm going to have the character to make them 6 attacks each. So the whole unit is 24 attacks, 12, 2, 3 twin linked. Fantastic. Incredible unit. 2 Disintegrators with Ferromite Cannons. They get +1 to hit against monsters and vehicles with their Ferromite Cannon. And they have just like a bunch of guns. They're pretty good tanks. 2 up save, 12 runes. Just good dudes. And then I have 2 units of Sidonian Dragoons with Taser Lances. Now, I'm thinking to modify this list a bit going forward. I kind of want to add Call somehow. But these guys I found to be woefully inconsistent. They get to advance in charge and fall back in charge. Reroll Desperate Escapes. They're fast, 10 inches of movement, 7 toughness, 7 wounds, 3 up save, 5 up invuln, which means that for 170 points, they are very tanky. They're very annoying to get rid of. But we're going to be a Conqueror, so we'll be on 3s. 12 attacks on 3s, 7, 2, 2, anti-walker, 2 up, lance, sustained its 2. Sometimes you spike, you often don't. They're fine, but they're tanky. So that's the list. Let's go into Tabletop Simulator and kind of look at, I guess, slightly how this will look on a table. I often start a tank off the board. I will always start a unit of servitors off the board. This unit is great for rapid ingressing or dropping turn 3 deep in your deployment zone because they don't want to see these guys back there. These guys will mess up any sort of like sticky objective screening, cultists, pathfinders. They will mess up. Even intercessors don't really want to see these guys. It's just an annoying unit. It's an annoying amount of damage for such a cheap unit. Datasmith with each robot unit. 2 units of scouting, sticky objective boys. Now, I played this deployment a few times. I played into Knights. I played in Necrons, Space Marines, World Eaters. And this one is specifically played into Knights and Necrons. One thing I noticed was how easy it was for me to control center. Now, I have that +3 move, +1 advance, +1 charge strat. And I can put robots down, like here, with their character. Here. 2 inches, so a little bit closer. And with 11 inches of movement, if someone's staged right on the other side of this wall here, I only need a 5-inch charge because I have +1 to charge. That's a really reliable charge. If you have a CP to reroll a 5-inch charge, they're not going to stage there if they go second turn 1. So this is talking about if they go up to stage here, turn 1, and hide behind this, I'm pretty consistently going to have 2 CP. 1 for the extra movement, and 1 to reroll a charge if need be. And the fact that I can do that means that this here isn't safe. You can't stage here. Obviously, I'll have like a ranger unit here. I'll probably have a ranger unit here or here that can scout up or back, depending on need be. I'll probably have another unit of robots here, because same story. I hide them back here. He is an infantry model. They changed it so that Cybernetica Datasmiths are still infantry, which is a downside, but it means he can be hidden, so he can get a little extra movement and stay on this point. Same here. I can leave a Datasmith right here. The rest of my robots back off the point. And then with 11 inches, a lot of space here, or I can do it over here. 11 inches. It's a lot of space here that you really can't risk. I mean, the robots can theoretically rep a charge onto your home objective turn 1. It's a thing they can do. Or turn 2 at least. Which means that, well, I don't have to have them in a spot where they're at risk of taking damage. This is safe. This is safe right here. So I have to risk them taking damage to have them be deterrents for where your opponent puts his expensive things. I've played almost every game, Purge the Foe versus Take and Hold, and your opponent needs to take objectives too. So the fact that you can say these two objectives are just not safe. And then I have things like servitors, I have Skitarii, and I can go dump things in this point until they give me a juicy target. And when I see a juicy target, then I'm going to send the robots in, and then they will be unkillable. I'll put a tank back around here somewhere, kind of hiding. This tank will either start off the board or it'll be over here. And then I can have Thulia to give her shenanigans. So maybe she could stay over by this one, or if I have like Skitarii over here or something. I know that I have to, the angling of this is weird, but we could have, you know, one tank here to give her loan up. And then we could have the Tech Priest, the Enginseer, wherever he is wandered off to. With his last cannon, he could stand near this one. Now, both of these guns, 24-inch range, they have angles on this. She's got angles on this. And if you lurk back a little bit, she can come forward and have angles and use this as cover right here. And he can come up and keep his loan up because of the robots, so he can come up in here. And if the robots are staging here, he's still loan up. So he can be up here and he can shoot. And they both have very good guns. Or I could start him over here and I can give the robots a feel no pain. So let's talk about the real oomph of this. And that is damage reduction / negation stacking on Kastelan robots. This unit here is effectively 320 points plus a 25-point character plus a 30-point enhancement. Nothing is good at shooting these. Nothing is really good at meleeing them. So almost every game without fail, I would have a Kastelan robot unit, 4 robots, the character with them, and I would have the Tech Priest start relatively nearby them. And I would take this unit, and I would march it onto whatever the midboard was, be it this one, or if I was playing the one that is vertical, I would march it onto this midboard, and I'd say, here you go. I'm going to charge something on that point. I'm going to beat it to death. 24 attacks on 3s, 12-2-3, maybe 12-3-3, twin linked. I'm going to beat you to death. What are you going to do now? So it's now the end of turn 1. Whatever, like my opponent was playing Necrons. He brought Necrosaur Amatar, who is a very chunky lady in his own right. And put him here, touching that. He's low up. He had some Scorpex over here. And he had Necrosaur here. And then turn 1, I ripped the charge, and I got Kastelan robots all the way up here. And I got summoned to him. And I had one that went into the Scorpex. And I had the Datasmith. Datasmith went to the Scorpex. Now, importantly, he's touching this point. So I have access to the Armor of Contempt strat. What is good at killing these robots? They kill him, obviously. You know, we're on the point. What wants to shoot robots? TI isn't too crazy. 7 wounds isn't egregious. 2 up save is rough, but 5 up is, you know, there's better invuls out there. The first one's got a 5 up feel no pain. That's kind of rough. And I got a damage blank. And reflect damage. He had a Doomsday arc. What is a Doomsday arc, though? D6 plus 1 plus blast. Six shots. Hitting on 3s. Oop, hold on. Four hits. I believe wounding on 3s. Alright, 5 up to save. And I blank that one. That didn't seem egregious. That's no damage. That's nothing. What about a Repulsor Executioner giant gun with Oath of Moment on 2s? All right, 5 mid vuln, and I blank one. Well, those are like high damage weapons. What if you shot a bunch of low damage stuff into it? Okay, we'll say that you shoot this thing with maybe like 10 rubrics with flamers. 10d6. Alrighty, so that is going to be 36. And I have 10 dice on the board. So I'm going to pop Armor of Contempt on these guys. And then this is going to be wounding on 6s. And then saving on 3s. Ooh, I save all of them, and you took 2 mortal wounds. Now, obviously, dice are random. This isn't perfect. The point is, there is nothing good to them. The fact that I have access to Armor of Contempt means AP 1 and 2 is no longer effective. Things that are AP 3 or high damage, I have a damage blank for, and I also have an invuln for. And 7 wounds is a rough breakpoint, because even if you get through that, you shoot the coveted last chickens with call that we have. We'll say call, last chickens, hitting on 4, sustained hits, rerolling hits. Very good unit. Awesome. 2 sustained hits. Wounding on 3's twin linked. That's all of them. Okay, that's all of these wounds. Saving AP 3. We Armor of Contempted, so saving on 4 ups. Alright, so 3 go through. That's a great roll, by the way. That's every single hit plus 2 sustains plus every single wound with las cannons. So we save a bunch. All these go through. We blank 1. Before we even blank 1, let's just see. Order roll the damage. So 5 damage, 4 damage, 5 damage. So 5 damage to the first one. This was a 3. But for the first one, 5 damage. Deal no pain. So the first dude only took 3 damage from the first one. And this is 4 damage. He only took 2. And this is 5 damage. This is going to kill him. But all 3 had to go into the first one because he had that feel no pain. So even without using the blank, no blank, just saves and feel no pains from the tech priest. I lose a robot. Whole activation. And if I blanked it, he still survives. He's alive with 1 wound. And you just put a 280 point, 270, 80 point, purely anti-tank activation with call. By the way, I rolled some 6s for the saves. That's damage I did back to the chickens. This unit doesn't die. And if you charge it with like something crazy, like yeah, you could put Death Company with jetpacks with Lamarties, or like the Chaplain with jump pack, and be in the Death Company +2 attack on the charge and have the +1 AP, +1 strength, and like really dump damage into them. But at a certain point, these guys are going to take so much damage and so many points to clear. And if you don't kill them in melee, if you flub, if you miss, they will kill you. They don't need to charge. They don't get damage from the charge. They can just stand here. If you shoot them, and you get close, I can just heroic you. This unit doesn't die. And then the next turn, if you got me tied up, I can fall back and shoot. I can fall back, shoot, and charge. I can stay in combat and get myself double Doctrinas and have a battle line nearby to be -1 to hit. This whole time, by the way, I could be -1 to hit in melee because this battle line that's sticky this, one of them is just hanging right here. So now I'm +1 AP and -1 to be hit. I give him double Doctrinas. I have so many things I could do here with this unit. This is 385, 375, 375 points, somewhere around that. Where are those chickens at? It's 21 wounds. Maybe they're over here. Maybe they're over here. Maybe they just bullied this unit to death over here. Well, now this next turn, this Doomsdayer has to figure out what's more important. Do I shoot the chickens or do I shoot the robots? I mean, the robots aren't as fast. I shot them and it did nothing. You just saw I shot them and it did literally nothing. Maybe I'll shoot the chickens. The chickens are still 7 wounds. It's the same number of wounds with the same invuln. He doesn't want to shoot them either. And if they played their cards right, they have the damage blank too. Not only is he keeping his unit alive, he's threatening that damage blank being used anywhere in a 12-inch aura around him. This unit's just going to hold this point because they're going to shift back here and they're going to stand here. And if you get close, they'll heroic you or charge you or overwatch you. Things like your car, you don't want to shoot them because they don't want to risk the 1 dev wound being bounced back and popping a scourge. You can't charge them with those units because they'll just overwatch you with their flamers. This unit is incredibly hard to deal with. And I have another one. And I have 2 tanks. And I have another unit of chickens. And they're going to be over here somewhere, bullying this spot. Or they'll be off the table to be a rapid ingress target. And I have another unit of servitors that is probably going to be just standing here, waiting. And Thulia is waiting too. Because at some point, Thulia is going to have a clean shoot and charge lined up on something valuable. She's got 5 Feel No Pain and a 4 Pinful. What are you going to do? You're not going to kill her. Very few things kill Thulia. In one activation, very few things kill Thulia. I would reckon you can put the Lion into Thulia, and she probably can survive it. Not comfortably, but with the CP reroll and the Feel No Pain, I think she survives it. So, I guess that's it. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is a super fun detachment. It's a super fun way to play. Entirely different. A lot of our detachments either rely on trickery or trying to get damage buff stacking. This is just pure beef. And once you get through the command phase, which is going to be very lengthy because you have 1, 2, 3 character buffs, every single strat for Cohort, the Feel No Pain from the Enginseer, the army rule, like all at the same time. Once you're through that, it's pretty easy to play. You just move robots around, you move chickens around, you put advancement charges as many things as you can. That's another thing, by the way. The +3 movement can go in any vehicle. You know what the threat range for a Dragoon is with that? So their base movement 10, so movement 13, you can advance and charge, +1 to advance, +1 to charge. So if he's standing here, moves his 10, moves 3, moves a 7-inch advance because he rolled a 6, and then he can nail a charge against someone 13 inches away. Theoretically. He can't declare it against them, but he can get a 13-inch charge. He can get there. Or, a little finagling, he can get someone tucked away on these points. In here. It's strong. And it's fun. And sometimes it's funny. And funny is the most important thing. So I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like, a comment, or a sub. I'm trying to constantly improve, so feedback is always appreciated. I'm going to try to add some like headers at the bottom or top. You'll see when I make the video, I guess. But if those help at all, I would love to hear feedback on it. And if you have any opinions on what I should make a video on next, I think I might work through a lot of detachments and keep playing games and talk about how my experience with them. So if you have any recommendations or suggestions, please let me know. I appreciate you all for watching. You guys have a lovely day, and I will catch you in the next one.